Right, so now we're going to go ahead and set up our buttons. In fact, I think I need to also set, do we have our buttons here? No, let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to say save button is equal to find r.id.post save journal button, and I do have photo image there. It's equal to find r.id.post image view. Let me see, something is not right. This is an image view type. Let's go back down here just to make sure. So I'm talking about this guy here, post camera button. That's the ID. All right. Let's go back here. IDs are very important. That's why I check them all the time. Because I have two buttons here. I'm say save button. I'm going to set on click past this. Do the same with add photo button there. That's set on click. Set on click listener. There we go, and pass this. Of course, at this point here, you know what we need to do is we need to make sure that post journal implements indeed the on click listener, which means then we have this. So here I'm going to go and put a switch statement, say v.getID, and then I'm going to start doing the cases. So in cases where case where r.id.save here, I'm going to go ahead and break. And this is where we save journal. Okay. In another case, r.id. What did we say? Post camera. There we go. Post camera button. I'm going to break. And this is where we're going to go ahead, get image from gallery or phone in general. Okay, very good. So we have that. So at this point here, what happens is we get to a post journal activity from create account, but we also get to post journal from other activity. That's the reason why we created that journal API as opposed to passing everything through activities, right? Because the username and user ID should be pieces of data that should be available at all time in our entire activity. That's the main reason we did that. So that means here, at this point here, I'm going to go ahead and fetch our journal API and get the current user ID as well as username. Because this will help us, because here, this name here, it's going to be the current user. So we can just get that and add it there. Okay, that's handy. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and say if journal API.getInstance is not null, like that. If that's true, then I'm going to say current user ID. Remember the instance variable we created? Right. I'm going to say is equal to journal API.getInstance. Say get instance like that. And we're going to go ahead and get user ID. Okay, doing the same with our current username. Journal API.getInstance.getUsername. And then at this point here, I can say current text view, right? I can set to our current username. Easy. Didn't have to go to the server, didn't have to go to Firebase, Firestore, and get that information because it's readily available. Very good. So regardless of anything, we have to add our state listener here, right? So I'm going to say is equal to new Firebase auth listener. There we go. Of course, here we should have a user. So I'm going to say user is going to be equal to our Firebase auth that we've been passing there, dot get current user. Okay. And I can just say if user is not equal to null, then we can go ahead and do all sort of things, just like what we had before. Else, we also have other things that can be done. All right. And then what I'm going to do outside here, I'm going to say on start, and I'm going to make sure that our user is equal to Firebase auth.get current user, right? On start, before everything starts, I'm going to say Firebase auth and add auth listener there, and I'm going to pass our auth listener. Okay. And what I can do also, I can put the on stop. So when things are going to stop, I'm going to check if Firebase is not equal to null. If that's the case, then I'm going to say Firebase auth.remove our auth listener, in the past our auth listeners like that. That's always a good idea, best practices, because we don't want to have our listener keep listening even after we have stopped about to kill our activity. So like I said, our auth listener here, we're adding it because it's always a good idea to have it. For us, for our purposes here, we don't really need to do much inside here. So let's go ahead and work on this click event of our camera here, because we want to go ahead and invoke an intent that will open the gallery or whatever we have our images on our device. To do that, of course, let's go ahead inside of our case here. Simply, we are going to create an intent, right? Because everything is intent based in Android. Call this gallery intent, like that. Could have called anything, but you get the point. I'm going to say new intent, and here I'm going to say intent dot, I want to use the Android operating system, okay? Because this is going to be an implicit intent, as you can see here, right? So we're going to send off the message, whatever we want, to the operating system for it to choose for us what needs to be open for us to get what we want. What we want to get is action get content, because we want to get something from the device. So we pass in like that, all right? And for our gallery, we need to give it a little bit of more information, a little bit of more data, metadata as they call it. So to tell it exactly what is it that we want to get. In this case here, we want to get something of sort of image. So I'm going to say image, and I'm going to put asterisk as that. So this means anything that is image related in image folder will do. That's what we're trying to get. Okay, at that point, I'm going to say start activity for result, because obviously we are asking to receive something from the operating system. So I'm going to pass gallery intent here, and I'm going to pass our gallery code, which we haven't created. We're going to create it right now. I'm going to create a field on the top there. I'm going to just give it 1. Okay, let's go back down here. All right, so when that happens, we need, of course, to override the on activity result like this, where we can then do all sort of things. So first of all, we're going to go ahead and say if, in this case, request code that we are passing, receiving, is equal to gallery code, right? And result code is equal to operating system result is okay, so everything is right, then we're good to go. But we want to go ahead and make an if statement here to make sure that the data that we're receiving is actually not null. So data is not null. What data is this? Well, this data is what we're receiving from our intent, because we asked, hey, go to the gallery and get us anything resemble image, anything that contains an image. Coming back, it's going to come in as an intent data as such. So we're going to make sure that that is not empty. In this case here, if it's not empty, we're going to make an image URI like such. It's going to be equal to data.get data. What is this image URI? So this image URI here is pretty much the path where the image that we're trying to get from our device lives. Okay, so I'm going to create this link here. It has to be an image URI of type URI, as you can see there. What do we do with that? Well, we want to add it as the background of this entire thing here, right? We're going to get this image view. There's two things here. There's this icon we created, right, which we set the on-click view to, and then we have this image at the background here. We just called it image view. That's totally fine. At this point here, I'm going to have to come up here and think we have our image view. I'm going to say private image view. Just call this image view. Very original. And so I'm going to say image view is equal to find by id r.id.image view. Now, because we only have one image view that we're using here, I think it's okay for me just to have a generic one. Let's click to make sure that we're getting. Oh, no, we have a few others, so this is not a good idea, folks. Let's get rid of that. We're gonna go to, let's go back to, I think I got rid of what I didn't want to get rid of. So I'm gonna change this ID. Let's go back like this. instead of just image view like that, I'm going to say append post underscore image view. Much better. So we don't end up with a lot of other stuff. All right, so there we go. It changed accordingly. That's very good. So we now have our image view, which means we can invoke it right here to set that image to that. So I'm going to say image view dot set image URI, because that is what we're passing here. Pass the image URI as such. Okay, show image. Very good. That's it. So here we pass in the intent, and then on activity result, we make sure that everything is set up, and we get the actual image path, and then we put it inside of our image view. All right, so let's go ahead and give a quick try here. Notice that we still have to work on our save button here, save journal. We're going to do that. I just want to make sure that everything is working. So I'm going to save this again and run. And log in. I think it was that Paulo at me.com. Password. Let's see if this works. Log in. Right, our login is not going to work because we haven't done anything with it. That's totally fine. Let's go ahead and create a new one anyway, a new person. I'm going to call this, let me make sure that I already have, yeah, Paulo is the last one. Let's create maybe Gina at me.com. And it's going to be password. Let's create account. So we're going to create a new account. And notice that we have here our progress bar still working. That's totally fine. We're going to change that. But notice also we have a new account, a new document created here, user ID and everything. That's good. All right. So what really we're trying to accomplish here is see if this works. So if I click here, it goes ahead and opens where I recently have been. Now, if this is the first time you're running this application, what's going to happen is you're just going to, or downloads or so forth. So I don't have anything in gallery. I have stuff in downloads. Now, if you have photos inside of a gallery, of course, you go to gallery. If you want to go ahead and get photos from your Google Photos library, you can do so as well. See, that's the beauty of using intents, implicit intents, because all we're doing here is sending the message to our operating system to say, hey, this is what we want. You tell us what are the apps or what are other intents that we have installed in our device that will give me what I want. Okay. In this case, like I said, again, in this case, I'm going to go to downloads because I know I have stuff there. Look at that. If I click here and voila, the image shows right there. All right. Now you notice we have another image in the background there. This is not good. We'll fix that at the next time. And what we need to fix next is also this continuous progress bar going there. Okay, very good. But at least we know we're able to fetch an image using our intent. So in the next video, we're going to fix all these issues. And also you notice we can't see our button at the bottom here. We're going to fix all of that.